We are live.
Hello. Welcome to the Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 464. I'm Otto. Tonight I'm joined with Victor Charlie.
Yo, good to see you guys.
And there's Jared.
Here I am.
And all the way, are we still across the seas there? James,
We are on a secure and undisclosed tropical island in Southeast Asia.
There you go. That's also known as his surname is FU War Pigs. So appreciate you having you. And then back on the podcast along the token minarchist, Kyle Wagner.
Hey everybody.
What's up, man?
Just recovering from COVID here, so my voice might be a little raspy, but not a lot. Not a lot of coughing this time. So,
how bad was it?
Not that bad. I think it was my third bout with it. This was the most mild of all of them. It's mostly just been congestion, nasal congestion.
How do you know
coughing.
It's COVID?
So I tested positive. I tested positive for COVID.
What, the home test?
Wow.
Yeah, man. You got the little thing. You probably can't see it.
You know how you stop
getting a boy or girl?
Yeah.
The 2 bars is positive, so that was from last week. But I tested negative today, so
cool. Good. You're back at it, man. First thing you did, you were like, "I'm going on Punk Rock Libertarians."
Yeah. Well, my wife's had the baby, and so I've been on my own all week, just by myself in the house, and so I have a free night, and got the invite tonight, and I was like, absolutely, I haven't been on it so long, so I'm happy to be on
here.
It
wasn't for his wife or the baby or hockey. We're solid fourth on that list. We're fourth on that list.
Yeah. Not even COVID
Thanks,
will keep you away, but not like hockey. Yeah.
Yeah. COVID's number 5 on that list. Well, we're glad to have you back, man. There's been some things happening. I don't know if you guys have heard, but apparently Hamas struck Israel over the weekend.
I haven't heard anything about it. Tell us.
Yeah, I know. It hasn't been anywhere. How's it? So, yeah, man, this is pretty fucked up. It's pretty bad. Lots of people dying. It is pretty weird how I never thought like a sentence I'd wake up to is, "Oh, paragliding terrorists." Just
have you seen the videos of it?
In. Yes, flying in.
Dude,
it's like the first 10 minutes of
Red Dawn.
Yeah. Well, the people are like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, is this like an air show?" Because the ones that I've seen are at that festival that's like out in the desert. There was like some sort of like Burning Man type festival out there, and then it's just like a bunch of kids and stuff out there, and then someone's got their cell phone out, they're recording, and then all of a sudden there's just like 30 fucking like paragliders coming in. They probably thought it was like some sort of I don't know, art show or some shit like that.
Is it a parachute or a paraglide?
It was like a parasail, like those like sails.
Here we go,
like,
Jared. I got the docs.
fan. Yeah,
we got me posted in here.
Did they jump from a plane or did they like run from a cliff?
No, they got
engines on them. Yeah, it's an engine.
Yeah,
a paraglider's like a. It's like a.
Although a fan.
These were
like
on
this is the one I was looking at too.
Like the guy that comes into the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is insane. I did not have that
on your bingo card this year.
No, exactly.
Hamas paragliders.
Yeah, Hamas paragliders. They had an Air Force.
See him in the background.
Here they come. Oh, you really couldn't see it in that video. There was some close-up videos.
Yeah, there was better videos than that.
Hang on, let me see if I can find it. I just don't find.
There's one where the people are like sitting out at like I don't know, an outdoor patio, like brewery patio or something like that. It looks like.
Yeah, those people did not look ready.
Oh no, they were all like a lot of them were killed, dude. Like a lot of them are missing.
Yeah, they slaughtered a lot of them.
Like some of their there were some like Americans or maybe I've seen some tweets that they've either
actually
been captured or killed.
So there's a story that actually like made it all the way to like Anderson Cooper, but Shannon's Shannon's cousin, who actually lives in Israel, his daughter was at that show, and then
Jesus.
he left to go find her. She like found her way to like a police station or something and was fine, but now he's missing. So
Oh, no.
yeah, pretty wild shit.
That fucking sucks, man.
Yeah,
Like it's.
I mean, we don't
it's
really. He's kind of a distant cousin, so like we don't. She's never met him, but I mean, still, it's fucked up.
Yeah, so that's so fucked up, man. Sorry to hear. It's like it's war and
Yeah.
people are dying,
Yeah.
and it's I laugh about the paragliding.
Hey, but hey, Northrop Grumman's stock is up, man.
Yeah, I
They're
know,
all
man.
up.
That's all that
Raytheon's
matters.
Raytheon's
God.
up, baby.
God, we should have
Dude, it's-
invested before this.
That's
And now
we
well,
got an inside
okay.
tip from a paraglider.
well,
or
apparently
something,
the
you know?
Egyptians, according to some stories, I don't know if they're verified or not, but apparently Egypt warned Israel about this, that Hamas was about to do something big, and they ignored it.
Yeah, here I just find.
But to be
so
fair,
here
to play a little, I don't know if it's status advocate, but like they probably get threats like all the time.
Yeah.
So you know,
yeah,
I
but
mean,
Why would they be
who knows,
threatened all
but-
the time, Jared? Jared, why would they be
Because they're-
threatened all the time?
maybe I don't know, an open air prison. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like
they're-
that.
They're running apartheid.
Would you call it?
Or
Would you?
just
Is this considered? Is this
surrounded by
considered a jailbreak?
Islamist
And,
extremists?
you know,
Jailbreak.
why were they partying? Why were they partying at a prison? Right, like.
Well, they were still on Israeli territory. I don't think this was like. I don't think they were in. Well, okay, we can argue.
Yeah, I know. It's like there's so much things we could say. Like it's actually no one's territory. It's actually Palestinian land, or you could. There's so much like rhetoric we can say about this whole thing. But as it stands right now, Israel claims that's their land, and that's where the fest was.
Well, and those people were obviously not hurting anybody. They were,
No.
you know, sitting around dancing to rave music. Were completely innocent, you know, from any.
Where
from what we could tell,
territorially
so.
was this in Gaza? Where was this music festival?
It's north of Gaza or south of Gaza, but still in technically Israeli territory.
Okay.
On the other
So-
side of the wall. We'll just say that.
Okay.
You're right.
There's
It's
the
Yeah,
video
or else they
there.
would have just walked up instead of like paragliding in.
So
Yeah.
here's
we got a better
here's
one?
this Hamas video. Well, this was like their propaganda video of them training with these things, and they put it out there, so they were aware of this. Like, I just find it hard to believe that they were able to pull this off, and the Israeli Defense Force, like, just no fucking clue about this happening.
Yeah,
I mean, they literally put out this.
I mean, it's
promo
definitely
video.
a serious laugh.
Well,
this is the
listen.
Hamas-
To be fair, it wasn't like they were like 19 guys with box cutters. You know, like how,
right. At least they,
how could you possibly know this is coming?
But doesn't this remind you? Okay, real before we play this, doesn't this remind you of some videos of like Al Qaeda prior to like, or not prior, but soon after 9/11?
Yeah, they released.
So this
like,
was
this
their
is what we're doing.
of them training in Afghanistan and doing the fucking monkey bars and all dressed in black and playing the like
Yeah, the
Durka
monkey
Durka
bars.
Muhammad
I remember
Jihad
the
music.
monkey bars vividly.
Yeah, like the fucking doing all that shit. They're like, oh my god, these terrorists.
yeah.
So like, watch this
Dude, I
video.
remember
Terrorist monkey bars.
This is what Hamas put
Jumping
out.
through
like,
tires,
yeah, like doing like all like jumping through like flames.
the battle rope.
Yeah.
Like it was some like NFL training video or some shit, but it was like terrorist training camp.
It's like,
Like,
hey,
it was
it's like
like their
Ahmed,
hype
how was
video.
your 440 time? Or what?
Yeah.
Your 40 time.
Like,
Be all you
Oh,
can
man.
be.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
But this is this video that Hamas put out with the what do they call it? Paragliders? I don't know.
Paraglider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paraglider.
Paraglider.
Yeah, so here's this video and it's like fucking insane. Doesn't this seem a little sus?
Probably got those from the CIA.
I mean, that's gear you can buy on Alibaba. You know, not that big of a, not that hard to get.
I mean, the production value is real nice.
Right, that's a good GoPro.
This is real video. Yeah, this is. There's some
I mean, they
video
have a
there
promo
was.
video.
It was like that was actually like a video game. It was so graphic, like them just crossing corners and like CIA pumping out Islamic hype videos. Yeah, right.
Right.
Thank you, Ivan. Always good to see you.
About it. Just something seems very off that they were caught completely off guard. I mean, there's a lot of former or retired Israeli Defense Force talking about like how this is unprecedented, how they were completely caught off guard, how this didn't happen, how
I
this,
wouldn't say it was
No
unprecedented.
one,
they got
no
they
one
got caught
ever
off guard.
expected no one ever expected Raytheon stock to go up suddenly. I mean,
Right.
nobody saw this coming.
yeah,
Right.
or the Iron Dome failing, or all.
Yeah, it was
It
like
just
5,000
seems
rockets.
And then the
Well,
other,
yeah, I
whole
mean,
Iron-
how many can the Iron Dome really shoot down though? I mean,
Right. It's like what Scott Horton always says. It's like shooting a bullet with a bullet. Like it's
Right.
pretty damn hard. And it's crazy to think that like I don't know. Just like
Well, that's
production
the same
value.
goes for all the stuff that the U.S. has out in the Pacific to shoot down nukes. It's like if they send over like 1,000 warheads, like not like you're not shooting that shit down, dude.
No.
Good luck.
the other thing,
Right.
what was I reading? Think about this too. Think about like the ADL, and let me find. Remember, like the past month or two, like the ADL has been on a rampage against like anti-Semitism and Twitter and censoring all this
Yeah,
information.
they have been. They've been really
right?
stoking that.
So
Like, it's
they're
everywhere.
ramping this up. Yeah, and just to this day, like I got to find the video. I think I sent it to myself, but it was I guess he's like the chair or maybe on the board of the ADL, and he was on MSNBC,
Oh,
and
God.
their hosts were like Islamic fighters, and they're like, they're not fighters, and he got all like weepy and just like, so there's been like, and they're already using the language like this is like our 9/11. There's a video of Senator Cory Booker over there,
Oh,
not
God.
one, like just
I saw
puts
that
out a
one.
video. Yeah, and it's like I don't think he answered once in his 30-minute long video. What the fuck were you doing over there in Israel? Number two, why did you not have security detail? How the fuck did this catch you completely off guard? And he tells us all this sob story of how they attacked and how he hid in the hotel. I'm like, don't you have security? Don't they have like, aren't you surrounded by intel telling you like, yo, some shit's going down. You better get the fuck out. Like, I don't know. Something seems like this is a total
sounds a lot like AOC on January 6th.
Very coordinated, every single politician had all their talking points down immediately within an hour or two. Just, we stand with Israel, we stand with Israel, we stand, blah, blah, blah.
To be fair, they probably rehearse that. They probably rehearse that at every like fucking congressional meeting. Like, all right,
That's true.
something happens to Israel today. What do we
What do
say?
you say?
But well, let me ask you guys: was this a coincidence? I mean, it was just the whole thing with Gates in Congress and the Speaker of the House getting shut down for like suddenly like it looks like the Ukrainian conflict is run its course, right? And they're like, okay, cue the next war. Like what's next in line? Oh, okay, back to back to brown
our
people.
greatest hits.
Okay. Like let's go with what works. I mean, I'm sure the whole time. I mean, you got to believe that that Israel was, they're watching this Ukrainian war, going like, those were our weapons. Like we, what about us? We're the one. Iran. But what about Iran?
And they were saying that that a lot of the weapons that Hamas had, like there's M4s, and like they're like, where are you getting all them from? And they're like,
Yeah,
I
saw
they're
a lot of
like,
videos.
oh yeah, we got this from Ukraine. Thanks, United States.
Yeah, or they came from Afghanistan after our hasty withdrawal. And it's like, here you go. So it's just, who's benefiting? The military-industrial complex.
Yeah, did you see the graphic of all the?
Let
me find this.
That was just today. I tweeted something out. It was from the. Check out the Maryland Libertarian Party. They have something. They have it, and I think Disclose or there was another outlet that posted it of the stock ticker. Yeah, there it is. Look at that.
That was from today.
I was like,
Lockheed. Yeah, this was earlier today actually, because I looked it up and Lockheed is up even more. They're up like 9%.
Yeah, I gotta say these are rookie numbers. Wait till they really crank this war up.
Right.
And apparently they're instituting a 3-day shelter in place. Like the counteroffensive is coming hard, and it's right now probably as we speak they're sending in all the troops, and it looks like they're just going to ethnically cleanse all of Gaza. They're just going to level it to the ground. I
tweeted a video and they pulled it already, and it's showing what's going on, and it's ugly. It's awful. I mean, it's not. They cut off all the water. They cut off all the electricity to Gaza, and I tweeted it out.
It had already been limiting the water, but yeah, now it's just like
even prior.
You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
no,
and
I think hundreds of civilians have already been murdered in Gaza now in revenge. So
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. It sucks, man. This whole thing is just awful. And I don't know what else more to say about it than that. I mean, it's just, but for people act like this unprecedented and unprovoked, it's the same
Unprovoked,
fucking
yeah.
language. Like, okay,
Yeah.
unprovoked.
yeah.
all
Oh,
right.
are you quoting RFK Jr.?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh man,
Seriously,
what a way.
did you guys
tank
see his tweet?
campaign.
It was
Which
pretty.
one?
Yeah.
Do we have it, Daz? We can pull it up.
Ignominious, unprovoked, and barbaric attack on Israel must be met with world condemnation and unequivocal support for the Jewish state's right to self-defense. We must provide Israel with whatever it needs to defend itself. Now, as president, I'll make sure that our policy is unambiguous so that the enemies of Israel will think long and hard before attempting aggression of any kind. Like, yeah, completely unprovoked.
Unprovoked, guys.
Like, yeah, you know, how dare the prisoners try to escape the prison unprovoked like that?
Well, what his
to me,
thoughts
this
on
is always
9/11
the-
are?
Right.
Unprovoked?
This is the long game. I think this is just the long game of Israel is like, look, we can't go in, we can't what
Uh-oh.
what is going on?
You back?
Yeah, dude. I my headphones must have connected to my cell phone, and I just heard myself say the same exact sentence I already said. I was like, "Whoa, what the hell?"
I'm traveling.
I know. Right? Anyway, sorry about that. But yeah, it's like the concept. Like I always felt for a long time, Israel was just doing this thing. Like we're just gonna wait them out. Like we're not gonna go in there and bulldoze and you know like SS troopers who would get you know standing ovations in the Canadian Parliament. We're not going to go do that. But what we can do is we can just poison their water slowly. We can just fucking completely just kind of corner them in and just over time, just do the socialist method, just kind of just, eventually we'll just drown them out. You know, they'll be extinct. That's what we'll do with the Palestinian people. I feel like that's been the end game.
But they weren't dying fast enough, Otto. You see, that was the problem.
So
they weren't abandoning their homes quick enough for the bulldozers to like there's only so many bulldozers they have, you know, like
right. It's fucking sad, man. And now it's just gone into full gear.
Well, I feel like it was quiet for a while, right? I haven't heard of a major conflict between these two in a few years. It feels like not of this scale.
Right, because all the writers were working on the Ukraine proxy war, you know. So.
Writers. Yeah, the writers just got their contracts. And...
Still not as bad as
Ivan makes a great point here. He says it's still not as bad as January 6th. So
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, it's funny. Like
Democracy
they're saying this
almost died that day.
Yeah. It's funny. They're like, this is Israel's 9/11. I'm like, 9/11? Well,
That was a good
clearly
joke.
January 6th was worse. I mean, why aren't they comparing it to that, you know?
Wait, I thought 9/11 was Israel's 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some dancing Israelites, I guess.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, speaking of the press, there's a clip up there. CNN out here. They're out there. Be careful what you're watching, because it could just be a bunch of propaganda. But
fucking propaganda. So much
old
going around right
potato
now.
head was it Stelter? He tweeted this out. Look at this bullshit. Okay.
Why is he still tweeting CNN? Didn't he get fired?
Right. So he tweeted this out, and some.
What's happening? Stand by.
Is that Dana Bash?
Hi, John. So forgive me, I have a slightly unelegant position, but we have just had a massive
laying down.
barrage of rockets coming in here. Not too far
But
from
my
us,
hair
so
still
we
looks
have
great.
Had to take shelter here by the roadside. We're just about 5 minutes away. Gaza is in.
I saw another one like this with a dude.
Really?
It was like you couldn't. Well, actually, no, that one you could actually see shit blowing up. So that one actually was real. But this definitely looks fake as shit.
You know,
That
if you zoom
direction,
out,
we
you're
can hear now a
just
lot
gonna
of
see
jets.
like
Wait,
people
they
walking
pan out.
around.
Sky. We could also hear
Yeah.
the Iron Dome intercepting a number of
Iron
those
Dome,
rockets as they
Brought
were
to you by Raytheon.
whizzing overhead and making impact in that direction.
That dude should just like
It's
rip
a
ass.
She is
product
still out of
sponsorship.
breath because she's probably on her 6th booster. But anyways,
Not
Brought
too
to you
far
by
from here.
Pfizer.
We came to this location.
very breathy.
Children the vaccines. Watch their eyes dull and give Satan his servings of pain.
What's that?
I found that one today.
That scared me for a second. I was like, "Who the hell's talking?"
It's Alex Jones.
Dude, look how fake this is. She's totally faking
because this was ground zero.
Look at
ground
that.
zero.
Ground zero.
Yeah,
She's at the rave party.
For this entire operation
I
of
got so
carnage,
fucked up
Hamas
on
militants
Molly.
came,
And all of a sudden, these
on
guys
a
came on
pickup truck.
parachutes.
This was the first place where they breached that border wall, and they basically
Why is
drove
there a
down
border
this
wall?
Strip, just
They cross state
spraying,
lines.
lead wherever they went. We saw. I was just grabbing it before that happened. We had to hit the deck.
Just
but,
like how evil Kyle
heavy
Rittenhouse.
weaponry.
What is
Heavy
that? What is she
weaponry.
holding?
Wait, what is she?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking.
This is the cap of one of their water bottles. I've recovered it.
Yeah, wait.
Proof
Is
it.
she claiming
Prove
this is like part of a weapon? Part of
Oh
a
my god.
ordinance?
Weapons of mass
heavy
destruction.
weaponry being used.
Another
efficiently.
weapon
She should
from my
sniff it to
Nalgene
see if
bottle.
It's a chemical weapon. Yeah, she should sniff it to see if it's a chemical weapon.
Now,
Like they did in Syria.
Make sure you
where
don't.
are we moving to? Sorry, just 1 second, guys. Okay. All right, so now I can
Oh,
show
It's
you
definitely Israel, though.
the scene
Back to the
here.
buffet.
This is where those militants
But they have those black and white poles in Israel.
first came,
I've been playing
opening up
GeoGuessr.
fire on all these vehicles. There's a baby carriage down there, turned over on
Baby
the side.
carriage?
You can
A
see
baby
over there,
carriage.
Clayton, if you just
There's
show
some
bunch of
there's some
dead puppies.
incubators where they took
There.
babies out
some
and
kind of strikes, looks like in Gaza as well. Return
Get
fire.
it.
Or is that the smoke from the rocket launches? Forgive me. It's a little difficult after being crouched in a ditch to know exactly what's been going on.
it's not the first time she's woke up in a ditch, you know, like
Forest mommy makes a great point too. She said Iron Dome would look amazing on Molly.
Yeah, it'd be like that Vegas bubble thing.
Oh yeah, I thought you could say the Vegas shooting. I was like, damn.
Oh,
Dude, imagine that rave, right? Everybody's tripping balls on God knows what, and all of a sudden the whole like red
I'm
dawn
sorry,
shit.
I keep going
Like,
back to
my
that point. 'Cause
God.
it's not hilarious, but it's kind of is, but it's not. I don't mean to be. It's kind of
The what?
hilarious, but it's not. Like just the
What?
fact
I
that
think
you're
this
just,
sort of like
people at a rave, and all of a sudden these fucking Hamas shows up on parachutes, and you're just like,
yeah,
huh?
yeah.
I don't know.
boom.
Sorry.
It's absurd. It's definitely absurd.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
the
this is the
absurdity.
show, this is the
making
show
me
where
laugh.
we laugh at death and statism. You know, it's
Mhm.
it's a fine line, right? Like to,
Statism and its consequences.
Hey guys, he's right here. Okay, Kyle's right here.
oh, sorry, Kyle.
Kyle,
Kyle, why did you do this?
what's the America stake here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's just a conflict that goes back to what 1948. I mean, it's older than that certainly,
Yeah,
but that
Long
was
before
like,
that.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's the magnetic fields or what it is, but that just is. People are always angry in that part of the world, and but I don't want to see us escalate it, which I know we're going to do.
Well,
you
They're
can
just like
see
angry for no reason. You know, like why can't they be happy in their prison camp? You know,
Well, they
Well-
have different cultures and they're right on top of each other, and they don't get along.
I think Pete Q says it's because of their IQs, but I don't know.
Yeah. I've
you
don't
know,
know what his
I
takes are
challenge that
lately.
narrative that says they've always been in conflict or what. I think there's plenty of evidence to show intermarriage, cultural exchange, trade. I'm not
Yeah.
buying the
I think
perpetual war narrative.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been. I mean, you think about that. There's been existence in like one street. You have three different religions. Just they occupy the same spot essentially. There's one there's I forget what the church is, but it's like there's one part of it's owned by like I don't know. I forget the circumstances.
It's in
I don't wanna
Jerusalem.
speak out of
It's
turn.
the
It's like Orthodox Catholics. They own this portions of this one same church, which is right
Yeah.
across the street from like a some type of mosque. And
Mosque. Yeah.
it's like people have lived there and they've cohabitated and been pretty peaceful throughout the years. Think about anything after the Middle Ages on,
Well-
till about. And the reason why shit went hit the fan was post-war, colonization or post-World War I. Well, even before that, colonization of Palestine by not just not like UN. I'm saying like this was just the British. The British was like, okay, we're gonna come in there, and then they divided up all these lines.
Well, it was
a lot of people in the Middle
I
East.
mean, before World War I, it was the Ottoman Empire. Then I think
Yeah.
after World War I, it was Britain, and then there was like the Balfour Declaration, and then Zionism, and then it became Israel.
Exactly.
Well, we were watching.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, while we were watching Dana Bash on the ground, I was just pulled up the Wikipedia article, the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict, and it's literally broken up by like decades. It's like here's all the stuff that happened in this decade, and so we're in like the 2020s, because I thought it had been a few years, and it actually hasn't been that many years since they've had a conflict. I think it said like 22 there was a conflict. And now again in 23, they just keep adding paragraphs to this article every time something new happens. So it does go back. Every decade they have conflict, and it's bad.
This one is on a particularly high scale, though, as far as like within a particular time period. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously been ongoing for.
But it's also happening in the shadow. This thing, I mean, you can't avoid the fact that this is happening while the United States is funding a proxy war in Europe. There's all sorts of things going on in the world where the American Western Empire is being challenged like it's never been before. And I don't know who was behind this, but
China.
Clearly.
I mean, there's definitely like, I don't want to sound like a neocon here, but I mean, Iran is definitely playing a part in this. I mean,
yeah.
There's no doubt that they're funneling all sorts of weaponry around to like Hezbollah and Hamas and all of them.
The empire,
not saying we need, the U.S. should.
I'm getting real tired of that bullshit, though. That bullshit argument. They're like, the $6 billion that we gave Iran. You mean no, that we returned after we stole from them? You mean like we didn't just give them? We just gave them the money that we stole from them back.
Who gave what?
Without interest.
Who gave what?
We unfroze Iran's funds. I guess they had $6 billion. In where was it, Otto? Do you remember?
It was from an oil deal that went through, and they just never paid. Like they sold the oil and they just never paid. And I think there was that, and like military spending. It was just funds that happened during the revolution that they just put a froze on. They just froze it, and so we've been holding it interest free since 1979. And it wasn't until the Iran deal that we gave them that money back.
So what the narrative is like? Oh, we gave U.S. gave it back to them.
Yeah.
Oh, we were funding them. We're funding. Now
they're buying paragliders on Alibaba. Way to go, guys!
Yeah. Do you know
how many $6 billion you can get?
Did you hear what Kevin McCarthy had to say? Like, remember, recently dethroned over his warmongering. He came out and said, "We must confront Iran. Hamas is a puppet of Iran. They boast that Iran helped them attack Israel. We must confront the new axis of power. This is the axis of evil made up of Iran, Russia, and China. 3 years ago, there was no war either in Europe or in Israel, but today there is."
Oh my God!
This guy. I mean, is there anybody more in the pocket of the military-industrial complex?
Right.
Who was that?
What a douche!
McCarthy, who's just been dethroned as House Speaker.
Oh, that was McCarthy.
Yeah,
because he wasn't warmongering enough, or no, because he was too warmongering, and then Nikki Haley, presidential candidate representing the Dick Cheney, John McCain, Donald Rumsfeld Project for a New American Century. She says, "Finish them, finish them."
Like Mortal Kombat.
What does that mean?
It's ethnic cleanse. They're talking about ethnic cleansing. But that's what
they
literally
about. Are. They're talking about murdering like millions of people in a densely populated prison.
I was just talking to my coworker, and I think he saw yo, Alex sounds like some bullshit conspiracy theorist, but when he talks about this shit, I think he finally maybe I've gotten through to him, because he's kind of like your typical kind of you watching too much news, typical shit lib. But I was like, these fucking people are evil. I was just like, they are evil. And I was playing him some of the clips, and he's born again. And I'm just like, you see this? These fucking people are evil. We're talking like human beings. These people, this is why they would do it. They're fucking evil. And
they're
listen to the words they say, and listen to their actions, and look just look at their history. It's like these people
They
are
blurt it
evil.
out like any supervillain. They have to reveal to the hero like what their evil plans are. And we had it.
Like Ted
I mean,
Cruz.
you guys are, are you guys old enough to remember Project for a New American Century that laid out the plan for taking out Saddam Hussein and engaging in multiple conflicts, destabilizing Syria, all of the shit that took place, they put it out there as a promo and bragged about it.
Or what was it when General
and then it's like,
Wesley Clark?
surprise.
Yeah, when it was General Wesley Clark, like he was like what, 4-star, I think 4-star general, and he laid it out in the Pentagon. He's like, oh, they got all these plans. We're gonna go into Iraq or Afghanistan, then Iraq, then Iran, Sudan,
multiple conflicts.
Libya. Like he laid it all out, and we've pretty much taken care of all those countries. Syria, not so much. So this is a wider war, and it's going to get ugly. We're already sent. So to your point, Babs, they're already talking about that. And Kyle, have you been listening to like Keeping Up with Normies? Because I know Normie Talk Radio, WBAL here in Baltimore, was already talking about that. Like, we have to replace the speaker because our country's in, with what's going on in the Middle East, we have to be strong as they're running these neocon talking points hard. And they're saying like, oh, because we don't have a House speaker, we're weak on the world stage and we have to get a speaker in there. They're pushing this neocon narrative hard lately. What do you think, Kyle?
Well, it sounds like McCarthy is a neocon from what you said.
100%. But it's like, they're really like, even like, I don't know, people that were maybe not war. It's like drawing people back into like the conservatives to neoconservatism. A lot of these Trumpers that were maybe like, okay, yeah, maybe being the world police isn't, it's kind of like pulling a lot of these, it's revealing a lot of people who they really are. So
yeah, I mean, the right has always been, susceptible to aggressive foreign policy. I mean, they really believe in it. The rank and file believe in it too. Maybe they're just, taking in propaganda, but like they're very aggressive. Like they want,
I was at the gun show,
and of course the left are fully on board as well. So this is like who's going to be the resistance?
I don't know
here
if they
now?
are. I don't know if they are, because I think right now, because everyone's talking about like, oh, this is the new thing to support, all the NPCs and stuff. And I'm like, not yet. It hasn't yet. It's only been the really biggest advocates who are calling, ethnic cleansing and shit like that are the MAGA types, the people who are pretend to be America first, but except for when it comes to Israel, because Israel's the 52nd state or whatever, or 51st state or whatever. I don't know what order they put that shit in. But, it's crazy to me that they haven't, like, they're the biggest champions of this, but I think the NPC leftists haven't gotten their full signal yet from the beep beep boops.
Well,
like
Joe Biden is Joe Biden's teleprompter is telling them who to hate already.
Yeah, but not really though, not because he's not coming hard on it, because it's split. Because long time, I mean, leftists have always been supportive of Palestine. That's been a strong point of code pinkers, the
but now Russia's involved. Punk. See, but now it's Russia. See, now Russia's part of this.
So Russia was an easy target.
Let's spin in Russia, and we can get Trump in there too, and they'll fall right in line.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we talk about that. So I think they haven't gotten the full thing yet. I think they're waiting to hear what the news media really wants to go, because right now it's like, ooh, we don't want to be on the same side as these MAGA people. I think it's a little bit of that.
They're still being worked out. Like they're still trying to
get
the
that way.
You know
how I know?
RFK.
I'm going to say real quick. So what I know is I always go downtown. I always go downtown DC. That's the easy thing to see what the new thing is, because it was the BLM flags, and it was the stay at home signs, and then it was the Ukrainian flag, and I'm sure now most of those have the Israeli flag hanging up. But like the true leftist people, like around here, like around my neighborhood, I always can determine like how they feel about this. So it's funny because it was the same thing, same line. It was the stay at home. It was the, and then it was the Ukrainian flag. And now the Ukrainian flag's gone, and there's nothing in these people's windows. There's like 3 houses that I judge this off of, and it's totally anecdotal. But it's like these 3 houses I drive past every day, and not one of them has an Israeli thing up. But the Ukrainian stuff has been taken down, which I find interesting. It's literally almost like they're waiting to hear back. Like, I don't know who I'm picking on this side.
We're only 2.5 days, 3 days into the programming.
Exactly.
It still hasn't.
It's still fresh.
We're early in the programming. They're working it out.
Yeah, it's like a It's kind of like a season 1 but it's a reboot. You know,
No,
like
this is
rebooting
15 days to slow
show.
the spread of Hamas. That's what this is. 15 days to slow the spread of Hamas. So we'll wait and see.
Maybe they'll put up peace flags.
That's funny.
Highly doubt it.
That's a good
Well,
one.
I mean, here's one indicator of where the left's at. RFK Jr. says, "I applaud the strong statements of support from the Biden White House." Like he's on board, and there is a statement. I mean, I have a feeling. I mean, we know Biden is really well connected to the Ukrainian money laundering operation, right? So I'm sure that's his primary baby, but he's definitely going to be cashing in on this one too. My top priority is, safety of American citizens is my top priority. I don't know what that means.
To Otto's point that the programming's still early. I mean, this happened early Sunday? No, it would have been Saturday morning. So you figured we haven't had a full week. And just today, the Philadelphia Eagles put out a statement about Israel. Like all these sports teams are going to be putting out.
What?
So just wait. This sports ball weekend, get ready for the bread and circuses. I guarantee there's going to be some pray for Israel, moment of silence, maybe a flyover, maybe there's going to be so-and-so player lived in Israel and is half Jewish.
You know what would be neat?
He's the defensive lineman and his mom was they're going to ramp that up.
They should do a flyover of paramotors over the game. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh no.
Wow.
Oh, dude, imagine
Too soon.
Dude, I'm going to be gun shy going to the beach from now on.
I know, right?
I'm going to be
just don't go to any Israeli beaches, man.
I mean, I'm talking just Ocean City, man.
YouTuber. Have you guys ever seen the YouTuber Tucker Gott? Who does paramotoring, and he's got a trike, and he's does all kinds of cool videos on his paramotor all the time. And now anytime somebody sees him flying over, they're going to take cover. So Biden says the United States and the state of Israel are inseparable partners, and I affirmed to Prime Minister Netanyahu again when we spoke yesterday that the United States will continue to make sure Israel has what it needs to defend itself and its people. So, let the weapons flow. I mean, it's on.
Open the gates.
Already they're putting. I heard there's an aircraft carrier. They're Gerald Ford. It's one of the newest aircraft carriers in the Navy. Is already parked off the Mediterranean.
$1 trillion target that's just sitting there waiting to be
sitting out
blown
there.
to smithereens. It's the new USS Liberty.
Yes, the Gerald Ford's going down
Well, first of all, it was probably an embarrassment for everyone involved to be on a ship named after Gerald Ford.
Right? I know, right?
What the fuck? If they were going to if they needed to sacrifice one like the USS Liberty, that would be the one, right?
Yeah. God, dude, they're gonna blow it to smithereens. I mean, every single ship that's in our fleet right now is it's only allowed to exist because of because China and Russia allow it to exist. I'm sorry, but their technology is so much more advanced than what we have to protect these things. And these things are nothing but just trophies of the military-industrial complex. There's no need in the 21st century for aircraft carriers and these big-ass stupid boats. There's just nothing but it's just hey, look how big my dick is type of thing. That's just all that is. It's just a dump for people to provide jobs to all these communities throughout the country who they
would need them for refueling.
They
would need them for refueling.
No, it's just the little towns of Dickhead, Ohio. It's we make the little nuts that go on the bow of the ship, and over here in in Shithead,
true.
Wisconsin, we're making the metal scraps for it. It's just that's all this stuff is, man, and it's just sitting out there floating, and we're supposed to oh my god, salute. They're all gonna die, and I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. You're there to be shot at. You're there to be killed. You are dispensable.
The Hamas paratroopers.
Someone tell me I'm wrong.
The Hamas paratroopers are going to come over the horizon to the ship, like the opening scene or this helicopter scene in Apocalypse Now. that iconic. Yeah, it's gonna just escalate. I mean, they're still working on the script. like I said, like I can't believe I was scrolling through Twitter. I was like, my God, fucking A. The Philadelphia Eagles put out. That means all these teams are putting out statements soon. Like
They're gonna have to. Once one does, everyone's gonna feel compelled to do the same thing.
Has anybody like pointed out how they hate us for our freedoms yet?
Well, now you guys.
We're going to see that theme. Let's bring that one back.
Have you guys seen the protests that have been going on?
Where like
in
our own
in Orlando,
country,
they're just like
yeah.
these like they're pretty much like pro-Israeli protests going on, and then like a few of these pro-Palestinian people show up and they get like beat the shit out of, and the cops like don't do anything about it. It's crazy. So that's already going on. Like we're free and they hate us for our freedoms. And
I thought I saw that there was a Palestinian rally. That's what
I saw that.
Well, I did. Yeah, I saw
that
too.
In New York, in like Times Square, there was like
in New York City,
big Palestinian rally.
One kid's holding up a phone that has a swastika on it, and it's being condemned like none other. But yet,
wait a minute. Azov Battalion is involved.
Exactly. But when Ukrainians have a whole legion of Nazi stormtroopers, it's like it's a sticky situation.
It's complicated.
It's complicated. Right. So they're all.
I did find it interesting how it's like some white chick leading this like Palestinian thing. She's like up there with like a fucking megaphone, like leading this thing. Like, you're not Palestinian. Like, get out of here,
dude. It was this was his tweet. Let me find it. Phil that remains put one up. Let me find it.
Was it him saying that Catholics are going to hell?
No, it wasn't that one.
He put out this edgy post like, I don't know. Sorry, it's my. I'm kind of like salty on him since he made this post like Catholics are going to hell because they believe this, and I'm like, oh wow, so edgy. Thanks, man. Cool. Go back to your shitty metalcore band. All right. Anyway, sorry.
What is his religion?
I don't fucking know.
So you want to be Orthodox people?
Orthodox, yeah, like the base ones, the really cool ones that you were telling me about.
So a retired general says Hamas fooled Israel's advanced surveillance by doing all of its planning offline.
Offline. That's the key, man.
Pigeon carrier.
That's what we're doing wrong, man. We just gotta get back to paper and pen.
They didn't put it on the internet, so we didn't know.
And the FBI won't be showing up at our houses asking for coffee.
Christ. Yeah. Man, that's so pathetic. They didn't do it online, so maybe you should ask one of your plants that were there in the CIA. Ask them about what's going on, because if they've infiltrated, I don't know, maybe they have gave up on like Hamas and stuff like that. Maybe they've given up on that and they just kind of
maybe Hamas has like very
MAGA
severe like hazing rituals, that kind of preclude like CIA agents.
I don't know.
Maybe you got to like fuck a goat or something. I don't know.
You'd think they would have spies, like spy infiltrators, but
you would think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
I don't know. But remember, white supremacy is the threat. Okay, so if they're going to be investigating anybody, it should be those Trumpers.
MAGA types.
It's our fault. So it's MAGA people. There's a headline coming. How is MAGA people influenced Hamas? It's going to be like something like that. It's coming.
You gotta tie in. Somehow this has got to be Trump's fault. I know it. Yeah. I know there's a connection in there.
What was
and
I saw someone
why are those people in Gaza so grumpy? Could it be climate change? Who knows?
God damn it.
Possible.
Man, that's so funny.
I could see it. I could see the Atlantic, right? Put some New York Times editorial about I could see it.
Yeah, I could see it too. Oh God.
Oh fuck. I forget what I was gonna do. I was in the middle of looking up some docs on something. But I totally lost my train of thought with that one pass. That was good. Yeah. Because it's like they're already. What was the one I saw? There's another narrative that's going around, and that's what I was trying to look up. It was another angle where they're already doing the. God, I'll have to find it. I lost my train of thought. Give me a second here, but there was another like propaganda, kind of like not a completely redo of 9/11 propaganda, but very similar, but just kind of twisted a little differently to like, yeah, let me find it. It was blew my mind. But carry on. What was the other topic we were going to hit on? Otto, there was another big one this week. Besides
Indigenous Peoples Day.
That's true. That was today.
We didn't have that on the list.
I had off work.
I know.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, I had off work.
Oh yeah,
because my kids had to go to school today, but like in Baltimore County, they didn't have to go to school. So it's weird. It's like each county's afraid to celebrate Columbus Day, so they're like, they still want them off for Indigenous People Day, even though that's what everyone's posting now. Like,
well, see, my last job didn't let us off for Indigenous People Day. It was like you either get that one or you get Juneteenth. So they went with the Juneteenth. Right? Like you can't get both. You can't be too woke, but
not
Juneteenth
Kwanzaa.
is sufficient. Yeah,
that's bullshit. Not Kwanzaa.
Oh, man.
I think I get both with my new company.
They make you choose between blacks and indigenous people. That's like ridiculous.
Well, last year was my first. This year, actually October. This will be my first year at my current job, and I was blown away. Yeah, I didn't have off today, but I had off on Juneteenth. So I think to Jared's point, it's like the companies were kind of like, what are we gonna do? Like Indigenous People Day or Columbus Day?
Well,
like,
to make you choose, like that's
it wasn't
to me. That's
no.
That's like
it wasn't like a choice. It was.
Oh, okay.
I was like in their minds. In their minds, they were probably like, well, we got a virtue signal some way, but we can't give them off both days. Like,
okay,
right.
I thought they put it to you.
They could take away Martin Luther King Day and then like throw in Kwanzaa, right? Like it's got to be a balance.
Like, listen, we can't afford all these bullshit made up holidays. So you pick one that you feel is more important to you, and get back to us.
Optional holiday. Oh my God.
That's great. But yeah, so I don't know how you guys celebrated, your Christopher Columbus Indigenous People Day. Because my calendar, my Google or my iPhone calendar says both. So take that as you will.
I saw quite a few like shit posts,
calendar.
or at least several shit posts from people that are like, Columbus did nothing wrong and blah 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 blah. Like, wow, that's edgy.
I mean,
so edgy.
Yeah, but it's also edgy. Like he murdered hundreds of thousands of people. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Did he or did he just bring
3 million of the Tainos? Like according to the Spanish priests, like Hispaniola had like 3 million inhabitants before Columbus got there, and then after it was 10 or 15 years later there were none. They said nope. Okay,
so it wasn't
none.
Columbus himself. None. Columbus wasn't going around like, oh look, a brown person, kill it. It wasn't like that.
They did enslave, but smallpox was a large part of it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Then the slavery, and then the genocide, but in the end there were none. So you decide.
But hey, before
wait, did you just say like Chris? Did you just say he didn't do it himself?
Yeah, like himself.
So what, are you gonna let Bush off the hook because he didn't like fly all the drones?
I'm just saying like because he brought people with him and he brought the colonization, so therefore it's somehow he's the one bad guy. Like we look at him and somehow he murdered and raped women. Like I mean, did he? Probably, maybe, who knows?
I mean, it's more about what he represents, which is colonization, right?
But here, so before this is one thing I want to point out. So,
no,
as he was pointing it out,
hopefully
he's like,
there's no paragliders over Otto's house.
What was he trying to point out?
I don't know.
Could have been.
What did he mean by that?
What was he trying to say?
Well, it's an interesting point anyway that he represents colonization.
I'm back.
Yeah,
he's back.
We missed your point.
I was getting too base for the internet, I guess.
Yeah.
But I want to say before that, like everything went woke, there was definitely a movement. Oh God.
We're gonna hear.
I don't know if you're ready for this one.
I'm ready.
So it's just Columbus and Joe this scene.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Those people doing sacrifice.
The Aztecs sacrificing someone. That was great.
The thing is, he never reached the Aztecs. Like he never had any contact with the Aztecs.
Yeah,
right.
That's not Hispaniola.
It's a
So,
total
but
meme.
the whole point though is that there was, so according to this thing, before Discovery Channel, History Channel, whatever channel was the show I was watching before it went fully woke. This was maybe about like 10 some years ago. They had this whole show about how these indigenous people were dying before white settlers came, and so when the white settlers came from Europe, like they found a lot of these places vacant. Like what's the Aztec Empire for one. And what was happening is that these people were being wiped out like within the first maybe 50 to 100 years before Christopher Columbus showed up, was because they were
Mini
spreading
Ice
things
Age?
through seals. No, through seals. Seals were coming in contact with humans that were on ships and stuff like that carrying diseases, and these seals could transfer disease. And that was the big main hypothesis.
Yeah, they were buying
of
seals at
why-
the wet market, and that's how they got it. No,
It wasn't the Spanish biolabs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No biolab theory, man.
Here's an account for Hispaniola. Within so Spaniards removed men from villages to work in gold mines and colonial plantations. This kept them from planting crops that had fed them for centuries. They began to starve. Many thousands fell prey to smallpox, measles, and other European diseases. Some committed suicide to avoid subjugation. Hundreds fell in fighting to Spaniards, while others fled. Now, here's the thing: within 2 decades after first contact, an official survey showed that 40% of Spanish men had taken indigenous wives. Wives, right?
Yeah.
So,
Spanish guys wanted to get their dick wet, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it was I mean that's
Kinda fucked
I mean
up,
that's
bro.
there was something going on because it was the one place I visited in Colorado, Mesa Verde. I mean, they traced their ancestry back to the Aztecs, and they said like there was a mini ice age, then like 1200s, 1300, 1400. So there was mass migration of people, and like they found these. It's in Mesa Verde in southern Colorado, and it's like those cliff dwellings, and I think it was around like,
Yeah.
They were like around the 14, 15, 1600s. They said there was like a cold spell. There's a couple theories of why they went further south, but who knows what was going on like during that time period.
I mean, they were warring. I mean, like they act like they didn't suffer from the same human condition that Europeans and Africans and Asians suffered from. Like they all warred and fought each other and made each other into slaves. Like it's just what it was. Like we have to do this pretend thing that like white culture comes with this inherent like, oh, well, it's white capitalism. This is what caused.
Well, I mean, that's stupid. But you don't need to also don't need to like you don't need to celebrate it, right? You don't need to be like, let's celebrate Christopher Columbus.
But I mean, that we trace back. He's the one who discovered. He went on the. He was the one who discovered. Even though Vikings and other
he wasn't even. He wasn't even it was Amerigo Vespucci, wasn't it? Wasn't he the first?
No, Amerigo Vespucci was the first person to
circumnavigate.
Yeah, he was the one who like cartographed.
Who am I thinking of then? Somebody was before Columbus though, wasn't
Magellan? Well, he got lost.
Yeah, was it Magellan? Maybe I don't know.
Who knows? But either way,
where are you talking about? What do you?
I guess contact with like North America, South America.
Yeah, Columbus.
Americas.
I mean, whatever. Like
Knights of Templar. They landed in Rhode Island in like the 1200s.
Right, and I don't give a fuck about Columbus.
Newfoundland, it was 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, that too. Vikings were all over Newfoundland.
Well, okay, Vikings.
Exactly. So I'm just saying that, like, I don't care about Columbus. It was only like what in the 19th century did Italian Americans like, oh, they celebrate Columbus Day. He was an Italian, like, and they made it their thing, and that's why it became a cultural thing.
There's a whole episode of The Sopranos on that.
I was just reading about that actually.
Well, that was remember.
Did you ever see that episode, Kyle?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. Well, Kyle, you remember, and Otto and Jared remember in Little Italy in Baltimore during the Summer of Love when BLM and all those leftists tore down the fucking Christopher Columbus statue in the Little Italy neighborhood, and they tore it down and it went into the harbor, dude.
Yeah, I remember
that shit. And it was privately owned. It wasn't like city property. It was like actually like on private property, and they got it out. But remember all that outrage? That was like 2-3 years ago. Let me see if I can find a video on that.
No, I remember that. I didn't realize it was in Little Italy though.
I thought he was
into the harbor. Went into the inner harbor.
No, he was Italian, but he got passage through the Spanish. Was it the Spanish crown? They let him go, and so he flew under their flag.
Wasn't he funded by the Spanish crown?
Yeah, because no other Italy wasn't its own country really then. It was that
Really?
Italian unification didn't happen. Till
Oh, you had
1840.
all the little like micronations
Micronations and stuff
whatever.
like that. But yeah, so they went to the Spanish Empire and was like, "Hey, can we fly under your flag and passage across, the end of the world?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. Go die. We don't care." It's kind of like, but if you find anything, we own it.
Bring us back some of those sweet Taino women and their gold.
Yeah, he was Italian. My mistake. I misread the Wikipedia article earlier because I was thinking about that Sopranos episode, and I was like, why were they so proud of Christopher Columbus if he was Spanish? And I just read the article wrong. So he was Italian.
Yeah. All right, let's watch this video. I want to see this. This is the commies take down the Columbus.
Actual video of Christopher Columbus?
No. He was. I think that was before the actual photograph and video were invented.
Yeah, this was during the Summer of Love, wasn't it? Or 2022?
Summer of peaceful fire, mostly peaceful but fiery.
Mostly peaceful.
Yeah, look.
Oh,
it reminds me of this. Looked like Iraq.
Look at this.
Remember when they took down the statue of Iraq?
Look at this.
Look at this right there.
Look at it. She looks like me with a mask.
Watch her try to jump.
You if you wore like a midriff.
Right.
Watch her try to jump around, like just reeing.
Look at slow motion. Look at everyone celebrating wearing masks.
What does that sound? Are they launching fireworks?
It's probably just shitty audio. Here they're throwing it in the water at some point. I think it pans to the water.
what was I doing at that time? Not paying any attention to this.
I remember it.
I mean, I knew it happened, but like,
You're busy living your life, trying to provide,
not ripping down a statue. No, it would not have been a priority for me at that time.
You were staying well within your state lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, no, we must keep 6 feet apart. And no, this place can't open unless you get your vaccine card. And I know you're verified as vaccine, but you can go out and tear down a Columbus statue.
Dude, that's the most infuriating thing, because I thought, like, okay, cool. All right, everyone's being woke and ridiculous and we're protesting, but at least COVID's over. And they're like, as soon as it all stopped, they're like, okay, yeah, back to COVID restrictions. Oh, yeah, there was no big wave of COVID from this. No. Everyone was outside and it's fine. And they were being distant. When they were burning stuff down, that everyone was 6 feet apart. And when they were like jumping people, they did it one at a time. It was fine.
It wasn't dangerous like Thanksgiving dinner or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, that was what was hugging your grandma. That was evil. You couldn't do that. But yeah, if you wanted to burn shit down and destroy stuff, totally cool. That's what infuriated me about this. Like, I was like, oh, so now we're going back to COVID restrictions.
Oh man, we're not cool anymore, apparently.
The show used to be cool. Sorry, Josh. I welcomed you on, man, a while. Like,
wait a minute. I challenged that. Like, really? When was this show cool? Seriously?
That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
Please define
really
cool.
What is actually cool?
What time period was that?
Yeah. When?
I welcome Josh. Your invitation is still welcome here, man. I'm having. Yeah, I guess we're not cool. Babs is still cool. All right. That's just Babs. Babs is still cool. But I'm not. That's cool. All right, man.
Kyle's
Thanks,
cool.
man. Thanks, Josh.
Kyle's cool because he's inaccessible.
Yeah.
He's got that mystique about him.
Kyle rocks my world.
Thanks, guys.
I'm not all right, Josh. Don't you can't backtrack, Josh.
The kids are all right.
Can't do it, Josh. Don't do it. I'm not
hurt Otto's feelings a little bit.
So what happened with this dude that got stabbed? What's the story here?
Well,
we might have to take that over to after hours, but
we got to take it over to after hours. Yeah. So if you guys
I wanted to hear about Babs's monkey fight.
Oh yeah.
Babs
got to fight with a bunch of monkeys.
That's why you got to come on the after hours and listen.
Oh man, this is gonna be a great after hours show, because we got to talk about commies getting sliced in New York City, and we got to talk about James slicing monkeys in Malaysia, and it's gonna be fun. So if you guys want to listen to the After Hours podcast, please sign up for as little as $3 a month. You guys are the best of the best that sign up for this, and you guys get to listen to the podcast live, because we'll send you a link through your Patreon account, and you get to comment, react, do all that stuff while we do it live. And if you don't want to listen to it live, we'll still send it to your podcast feeder. Sometime whenever Jared posts it. sometime in the next week. Sorry.
Yikes.
But anyway, no, it's great, and you get access to the back catalog of shows we've done. We've done so many, and they've always been some of our best shows. So go over to patreon.com/punkrocklibertarians and sign up for as little as $3 a month. And if you guys don't like using Patreon, you guys can go over to PRLfans.com and find other ways to donate to the show. And we also have t-shirts for sale over at libertariancountry.com. If you use the code PRL or PRL podcast, you get a 10% discount. If you spend $50 or more, which I know you will, and you can use the code PRL2 and get a 20% discount. So until next time, everybody, live free
Or die.